TBS News, I'm Rosine Park. Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyum has pushed aside concerns about the country's return to normalcy amid the current COVID-19 surge. He stressed the government's priority will be swiftly adding hospital beds and supporting medical resources needed as quickly as possible. He made the remarks during a meeting with the chiefs of 22 tertiary hospitals in the capital region and called for efficient sickbed management as worry mounted over COVID ICUs running out of space. Critical care bed capacity topped 78% in the Seoul metropolitan area, with Seoul nearing 81%, ringing alarm bells for health officials. The prime minister said serious patients will be sent to where there are available beds, regardless of whether they're in the capital or non-capital areas. The daily number of new coronavirus cases in South Korea has topped 3,000 for a third straight day. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency reported a total of 3,034 new cases and 28 virus-related deaths within the last 24-hour period. The number of patients in critical condition dropped by 7 from the previous day to 499. The Greater Seoul area, including Incheon and the surrounding Gyeonggi province, remains the country's major hotspot for outbreaks, accounting for around 80% of the latest confirmed infections. So far, 82% of the population here has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, with boosters already being rolled out. Meanwhile, schools nationwide are preparing to fully resume face-to-face classes on Monday. The Education Ministry said it'll be the first time in nearly 2 years that all students will return to in-person learning. Amid concerns over the spread of the coronavirus, the Education Ministry has increased quarantine staffing at schools in the capital region, where most of the cases are being reported. Also, if an infection is reported among students, schools will be shut down and switched to online classes. Education Minister Yoon Hye earlier recommended students get vaccinated against the virus as soon as possible. She said her ministry was working with the KDCA to provide children and their parents enough information about the shots. A ceremony was held this morning to commemorate South Korean volunteer fighters who defended the Dokdo Islets against intruding Japanese ships back in 1954. The Veterans Affairs Ministry said a civilian foundation honoring the group of 33 fighters hosted the event at a national cemetery in Daejeon, just south of Seoul. The annual memorial, however, comes as territorial tensions flared anew between Seoul and Tokyo over the rocky formations located in the East Sea. A senior Japanese diplomat boycotted a joint press event involving his South Korean and American counterparts in Washington on Wednesday in protest over the recent visit to Dokdo by a top South Korean police officer. South Korea has been in effective control of Dokdo with a small police detachment since its liberation from Japan's colonial rule. The United States is considering a diplomatic boycott of next year's Beijing Winter Olympic Games. President Joe Biden brought up the matter as he hosted Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the White House. A diplomatic boycott means athletes would still participate in the Games, but government officials would not attend. That's all the news for now. You're listening to TBS eFM.